Welcome to the Essentials of Inorganic Chemistry. I am your friend Dr. V. D. Bhatt, and today onwards I am going to have 4 to 5 lectures on a topic entitled Thermodynamic and Kinetic Aspects of Metal Complexes. This is the first talk in this series, and today, after a brief introduction, I will explain you the term stability and stability constants. Friends, first of all, I would like to explain you the importance of thermodynamic and kinetic aspects of complex formation. Friends, you might have come across a term called free energy change delta G while studying the physical chemistry. Now, this free energy change or delta G is a thermodynamic aspect, and it is the value of delta G is the key that will decide whether a particular reaction will occur easily or spontaneously or not. In general, it has been observed that negative value of delta G for a reaction indicates that the reaction is spontaneous or easy, whereas the positive value of delta G will make a reaction difficult. So that was something interesting about predicting whether a reaction will occur or not. Now, under this title, I am going to discuss two aspects, thermodynamic and kinetic. You see, these aspects, they give you the guidelines on the reaction process or the complex formation. The first one is thermodynamic aspect. So the thermodynamic informations in general will be able to guide you on whether the reaction will occur or not, whereas the kinetic aspects, they guide you on the speed of the reaction. So this is a little bit pessimistic, but this is the fact of life. We all know that we are all going to die. So this information is given by thermodynamics. Thermodynamics can tell us whether you will die or not. But then comes kinetics. It will tell us how fast you will die. So rather when you will die. So both these terms are important. Just knowing that everybody is going to die doesn't mean that the world is over. The world is finished. If you know that you are going to die, then you will immediately try to find out when you are going to die or how fast you are going to live. So similar is the concepts in thermodynamic and kinetics. Thermodynamics will tell you whether a reaction will occur or not, whereas the kinetics will tell you whether or rather what will be the speed of the reaction if at all it occurs. So with this brief introduction, let us come to the point. The first topic is stability and lability. This is not a spelling mistake. This is a new term perhaps for some of you, but this is a correct spelling. Stability and lability of complexes. The term stability or the word stability is used even outside chemistry. Sometimes people say that I am stable or a particular person is stable, but then it can have different meanings. A stable person can be financially stable. A stable person can be socially stable. A stable person can also be physically stable. So what I mean to say is that without using the qualification like say financial or physical or say mental, the general word stability has several meanings and therefore it does not give vital information. So here we are going to talk about thermodynamic stability. Thermodynamic stability of a complex, it is defined as the measure of the extent of formation of a complex or transformation of a complex when at the stage of equilibrium. So you can say that a thermodynamically stable system, a complex or a species, is a species or a complex which does not easily or readily undergo any reaction. Stable systems do not react easily, whereas the complexes that are unstable in thermodynamic sense, they are expected to be very reactive. Now what decides the thermodynamic stability of a complex? As I told you, it is the delta G. And what is delta G? Delta G is the free energy change involved in the complex formation. So you can have an equation for delta G. This is also an equation which you have seen earlier. Now delta G is equal to minus RT ln K, which is also given as delta H minus T delta S. So this is an important equation, delta H minus T delta S, where delta H is the enthalpy and delta S is the entropy change. Entropy means disorder, irregularity. So there is a general rule that the entropy of the universe constantly increases. The disturbances or the irregularity or the disorder in the world constantly increases. So any process that leads to increase in entropy is going to be a spontaneous process or an easy process. Creating a disorder is a spontaneous process. Arranging something is a non-spontaneous process. But breaking it or irregularizing it is a spontaneous process. One needs to keep in mind that the thermodynamic stability of a complex does not talk about the speed of transformation. In general, you will see that the thermodynamics will only be able to tell you whether a particular phenomenon will happen or not. If it says it will happen, then you have to immediately go to kinetics and ask it that with what speed it is going to happen. Now let us come to kinetics. The kinetic stability refers to the speed with which transformations leading to the attainment of equilibrium takes place. In general, you can simply understand that kinetic stability tells us about the speed of the reaction. So in the thermodynamic sense, you will be using two words, stable and unstable. So a thermodynamically stable complex is a complex which will not react easily, whereas thermodynamically unstable complex is a complex which will react easily. But when it comes to speed, you have to go to kinetics, and kinetics will say, or kinetics will classify the complexes as labile and inert. So the complexes which react quickly, fast, are called labile complexes, while the complexes which react slow are called inert complexes. So these are the definitions of stable, unstable, labile and inert complexes. Now let us come to the second and very important point in this discussion. Steps involved in the formation of a complex MLN. And here we will be introducing stepwise and overall stability constants. Friends, say you are trying to make a complex Ml6. So what you do is you take a solution of metal, say Cu plus 2 in water, and in the other beaker you will take the solution of ligand. And since you want to make Ml6 kind of complex, means for each metal there will be 6 ligands. So you will be smart enough to have 6 moles, at least 6 moles of ligand per mole of metal. So that way you will adjust the concentrations of the solutions and you will eventually add the ligand solution to the metal solution. Now the complex formation will begin. What you have to understand here is that when you take say 100 ml of 0.1 molar or 1 molar metal solution, then it will contain a very large number of metal ions in it. In the same way, when you take 100 ml of ligand solution with say 6 molar, because you want to make a Ml6 complex, it will contain even more number of ligand molecules in the solution. Now the question is, how does the complex form? There are two different possibilities. The first one is, it may happen that the metal ions convert into the final complex one by one. So like first of all, one metal ion will react with 6 ligands and make Ml6. Then the second metal ion will come, it will again react with 6 ligands and will make Ml6. That way, that is first possibility. The second possibility is, and this is more important because this is what actually happens, the second one. First, each of the metal ions will react with 1 ligands. So M plus L. So all the metal ions will be converted into Ml. Then, or a large number of metal ions will be converted into Ml. Then all these Ml species will take one more L and will be converted into Ml2. And then this Ml2 will be converted into Ml3. At the same time, all the metal ions. So if you are talking about a complex formation Mln, then it occurs in a series of steps like this. The first step will be M plus L is in equilibrium with Ml. The second step will be Ml plus L is in equilibrium with Ml2. The third one will be Ml2 plus L, this should be Ml3. And finally, we will see that Mln minus 1 plus L will give Mln. Now, this is an equilibrium and therefore you can have an equilibrium constant. This is a reaction leading to the formation of a complex Ml. Therefore, you will have a formation constant. This reaction indicates the extent of formation of complex Ml. Therefore, it is also called formation constant or stability constant, because stability indicates the extent of formation. So this K in general, its name is equilibrium constant. In this reaction you can call it formation constant or even stability constant. Now how do you write down the equation for the stability constant? Let us see. The first one is the first step. The abbreviation is K, and since it is the first step, you will name it as K1 because it refers to the first step. And this K1, the equilibrium constant or the stability constant, is given as concentration of product divided by concentration of reactants. So in this reaction, ml is the product in the first step. So K1 is equal to, this bracket indicates concentration. So concentration of product, that is ml, divided by, you have two reactants. So concentration of reactant M multiplied by concentration of reactant L. That is how we write the equilibrium constants. So your K1, that is for the step 1. Now what will be step 2? As I told you, the step 2 will be Ml will now react with one more L to give Ml2. The equilibrium constant will be called K2, and again you have to write it as concentration of product upon concentration of reactants. Here the product is Ml2. So concentration of Ml2 divided by concentration of Ml into L. In the same way, you can write down K3. And finally, for the nth step, that is the final step leading to the formation of MLN, you will write Kn is equal to concentration of the final product, that is MLN, divided by concentration of MLN minus 1 into concentration of L. So these are your K1, K2, K3 and Kn up to Kn. They are all called stepwise formation constants or stability constants. These values, this case, they indicate the extent of formation of different species like ML1, ML2, ML3, etc. in different steps. K1 indicates the extent of formation of ML, whereas K2 indicates the extent of formation of ML2. You can see it again from the equation. See the value of K1. When would you have a large value for K1? If the value of concentration Ml is more, then you will have larger value of K1. In the same way, if the value of concentration of M and L, if they are less, then you will see that this K1 will have higher value. So the values of K1 or the Ks indicate the extent of formation of particular species. Now you will see that the values of the stepwise stability constants for a particular complex formation decreases successively, which means that K1 can have larger value, but then K2 will have smaller value than K1, and K3 will be even smaller, and Kn will be the smallest. The values of the stepwise stability constants decreases successively. Now what could be the reason behind that? I told you that if you want to make a complex, say you are trying to make a complex of some metal ion copper plus 2, and in a beaker you are taking Cu plus 2 solution. So what you will do is, you will take some water and you will add some copper salt, maybe CuCl2, CuSO4, whatever. So as soon as you add it in water, an aqua complex will be formed, because water is also a ligand. So say CuH2O4 will be formed, and now you are adding some ligand solution to this metal aqua solution. So the reaction actually is, even though in this reaction I have said that M plus L, but no, it is actually M H2O N, because it is in solution, it is aqueous. But just for the sake of simplicity, I have written M plus L. So the reaction otherwise would be M say H2O4 plus L gives Ml plus H2O, or rather Ml H2O3 plus H2O. That is how the reaction will occur. So each step involves the removal of or the replacement of a water molecule, coordinated water molecule. Now what happens, as we go ahead and ahead in the reaction, that is step 1, step 2, step 3, you will see that the coordinated water ligands keeps on decreasing. Say initially you had 4, but in the second step you will have only 3. In the third step you will have only 2. So lesser opportunities will be there for the ligand to replace. This is one of the reasons. There are more than one reasons behind this. So the other reason is decrease in ability of the metal ions with progressive intake of ligands. Then there is of course steric hindrance, because water is a relatively small ligand, and if you are making a complex with a larger ligand, then the metal will get crowded, and because of this less number of relatively lesser positions surrounding the metal center will be easily available. And then there are Coulombic factors. So in general you will see that because of a combined effect of all these factors, the successive values of the stepwise stability constant keeps on decreasing. Next, what information actually does the stepwise stability constant give us? Let us go back to the reaction with this statement. The stepwise stability constants fail to include the information regarding the previous steps. So let us go back to the reaction and you will understand. See, K1 tells us about the extent of formation of Ml, K2 about Ml2 and K3 about Ml3. This is a mistyping, otherwise it is Ml3. K3 is a stepwise stability constant of step 3. It does not include any information from step 1 and step 2. It is very independent. If you have Ml2 and L, you get Ml3, that's over. But if you are carrying out a 6-step process, then just knowing the formation constant on step 3 or at step 3 will not be sufficient. Rather, you would also like to know or have the cumulative information. You should have information up to step 3 rather than only step 3. But this K, that is the stepwise stability constants, they give information only about a particular step. They do not talk up to step 3. It is about only step 3. So, because of this reason, we will be introducing one more stability constant. In order to include the extent of formation of a species up to a particular step, the overall stability constants, which are abbreviated as beta, are introduced. So for example, when you say beta 3, it indicates the extent of formation up to step 3. Now, what will be the formula of beta 3? First of all, you have to write down a reaction which combines. Say for example, if you want to write an equation for beta 3, then you want information up to step 3. Means you have to write down a reaction which combines reaction number 1 or step number 1, 2 and 3. So this is how you can write M plus 3L. In step number 1 you are adding 1L, in step number 2 you are adding one more L, and in step number 3 you are adding yet another L. So the total reaction is M plus 3L is in equilibrium with Ml3. And write down the equation in the same way. Concentration of product upon concentration of reactants. Now see, when you have 3 moles of ligand, then it becomes the cube. So Ml3 concentration upon ml cube is the equation for beta 3. That is called overall stability constant up to step 3. Now, what would be the relation between the stepwise stability constants and the overall stability constant? So that I will show you using this very simple one line equation. K1 multiplied by K2 multiplied by K3 is equal to beta 3. That is my statement. If I want to check it, what I will do is I will bring the values of K1, K2 and K3 from the previous reactions, previous equations, and then multiply them. We wrote K1 is equal to concentration of ml upon concentration m into L. Then K2 is equal to ml2 upon ml into L. K3 is equal to ml3 upon ml2 into L. Now you will see that you have 1 ml over here and 1 over here, numerator and denominator. Therefore, they can be cancelled. Similarly, ml2 over here and ml2 over here, they get cancelled. Then this ml3 will be here. So what happens? This is equal to ml3 upon m multiplied by L. You have one more L and one more L. These two are already cancelled. So m upon L cube, that is equal to beta 3. You can check it over here. Beta 3 is equal to ml3 upon ml cube. So you will be able to say that K1 into K2 into K3 is equal to beta 3. So extending this logic, you can write a generalized equation as beta n is equal to K1 into K2 into K3 up to Kn. Now what happens? The equilibrium constants, they have very large value and they are generally expressed in logarithmic forms. So this equation beta n is equal to K1 into K3 up to Kn can be expressed as log beta n is equal to sigma. Sigma indicates summation, but log K1 into log K2 into K3 is equal to log K1 plus K2 plus K3. This multiplication becomes addition. So this becomes sigma. It is a symbol for addition. From n is equal to 1 to n is equal to n. And then you have log Kn. This is the most important and the final equation, which is the relation between the stepwise stability constants Kn and overall stability constant beta n. Now let us take one example which will make us understand this in a better way. Say you want to make a complex with 4 ammonia ligands and copper as metal ion. So the first step will be you have Cu plus 2 and you are adding 1 ammonia. So Cu plus 2 plus Na3 gives CuNH3 with plus 2 charge. Now if you want to write down the stepwise stability constant for this first step, you will say that it is Cu, the concentration of the product, this one, upon concentration of the reactants. Similarly, in the second step, you will say CuNH3 plus 2 plus 1 more NH3. It will give you CuNH3 twice plus 2. And again you can write down the K2, that is the stepwise stability constant for second step. So that is again concentration of product upon concentration of reactants. Now, here the K1, K2 are the stepwise stability constant, and if you talk about the overall stability constant, this is a 4-step process. You want to make CuNH3 4. So you have beta 4 as the overall stability constant. The reaction for the 4th step will be CuNH3 thrice plus NH3 gives CuNH3 4. That is the last step. But in general, when you want to write down the overall stability constant, you will have to write one reaction which is the addition of, or which is the combination of all the previous reactions. So the net reaction for this will be Cu plus 4NH3 will give CuNH3,4. So your product will be CuNH3,4 and beta 4 will be given as concentration of the product. Your reactants are Cu and 4 moles of NH3. So this 4 comes into the power. Concentration of Cu into concentration of NH3 raised to 4. Now, the addition of 4 amine groups to copper is an example which explains us that the successive stability constants decreases. So what happens? The experimental values are like this. Log K1 is equal to 4, log K2 is equal to 3.2, log K3 is equal to 2.7 and log K4 is equal to 2. You can see it is slowly decreasing. So then what will be the value of log beta 4? Beta n is equal to sigma n is equal to 1 to n is equal to n log kn. So you have to simply add these values, 4 plus 3.2 plus 2.7 plus 2.0, which comes out to be 11.9. So that is an example for understanding the stepwise stability constant and the overall stability constant. Now friends, there is one more interesting term, the instability constant, or also known as the dissociation constant. This one is defined as the reciprocal, that is 1 upon. It is the reciprocal of the formation constant. This was just for your information. So I end my lecture over here, and in the next lecture we'll be talking about the factors affecting the stability constants. So till then, thank you and goodbye.